Hey everybody, welcome back. We are on another, I think this is number 5, if I'm not right, or number 6, special segment and episodes and mini-series on the Wisdom Circle Manifesto Women of Legacy. I have such a vibration goddess here with me, such a vibe here with me. She's one of the beautiful women that are sitting on table number 3 at the Women's Diversity Summit at the end of this month. She is bringing in a story. She is bringing in a part of this whole wisdom of womanhood in the different ways it shows up, in the way that we see it and present it, in the ways that we may not see it and we overlook, and that's not represented. We bring insight into every aspect of womanhood, every aspect of diversity. And it's such a pleasure to be introducing you Sophia LePage. She's such a goddess. She's an embodiment queen. She is sensual sexuality. She is flow, the rebel, the sacred rebel. Am I getting that right? Or the rebel queen?
Rebel
If I'm getting it
Queen.
wrong, shoot me. What is it?
No, the Rebel Queen.
The rebel queen with a
Yes.
cause. And that's what I love. I love this edge. I love this rebellion, this rebelness in her. So guys, we have such a beautiful woman. We are gonna let Sophia introduce herself, and you're just gonna tap into this feminine vibe. Sophia?
Wow, what an introduction. Thank you so much, Ella. Yeah. So where shall I begin? Yeah, I feel like the Rebel Queen is a good place to begin because for me, how I came to this work of feminine embodiment and leadership was through a life experience of always feeling like an outsider. So even though I may have looked, like a normal person living a normal life, on the inside, I never felt like I belonged. And I tried so hard. So I spent a lot of my life living as this kind of good girl archetype, defining myself by how other people perceived me. So of what value I was to them was what value I took for myself. And I think a lot of women can relate to this experience of being defined by how you appear in other people's eyes. And that led me to kind of living this very expected sort of white picket fence life. I got married in my late 20s to my sweetheart who I met when I was 21. And we had this really nice friend group and we were doing all these very normal things. And I just felt so suffocated. I felt so dead inside. Like I felt so numb. And in the end, what happened was because I didn't have the self-awareness or the skills to really boldly own my authentic self, my truth, or even to know what that truth was, I ended up having a string of affairs and imploding my marriage and imploding my reputation and imploding this vision that everybody had of me. And I kind of ended up back at this square one space, like ground zero. Everything's a mess. Everything's destroyed. Who on earth am I? And so the journey that I went on from there was that self-discovery, which led me into feminine embodiment, which led me into feminine leadership, which led me into doing this work today, because I feel like so many women are trapped inside of this good girl, this societally designed, idea of who they're meant to be. Yes. And I want every woman to feel like they can be the truth of themselves, that it doesn't matter what they look like, it doesn't matter where they come from, that they can live a powerful life that is representative of the truth of their soul. And so that's why I do the work that I do today.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I felt it like tingling through my body, and it was electric, and I knew this interview was going to be electric. And it's just unfathomable how much we are, as women in general, or we can do it to ourselves, feel so self-repressed into certain standards and certain ways of being. And thank you so much for opening up and sharing that depth of your story and going into it in that way, where you really, and it's so true. Many of us women, we are engaged in situations and relationships and jobs and environments that we are not even resonant with. We're not even at vibrational frequency with, but we should do it. It's what we're expected, what people want. And even what's worse is sometimes we internalize that dialogue so much that when even no one's there, we're telling ourselves we should be doing this. And thank you for speaking into the concept of like that outburst and that seeking of expression, and like going into like different, like you said in your cases, having different affairs or having different situations, which were expressions of yourself, birthing out of yourself, trying to break free from the hinges. And many times there's a lot of shame and guilt with women when they even have the thought or the internalized desire or just a picture or a dream. That even is. But the bravery of you saying like, no, I can't take these shackles anymore. I can't take this repression, and I'm breaking through from it. It's so powerful. If you don't mind, I want to go a little bit deeper into it. What was that experience when you were going through that actual time in your life?
Yeah, it was very scary because I had a lot of judgment up until that point around people who would do things like that. I was one of those, I would never, people like, oh, I would never do that. So I had a lot of judgment around others and a lot of judgment around myself. I was a perfectionist. I held myself to a very high standard. So the box that I was living inside was, yes, a box that was societally constructed, but I also was adding to that. I was choosing, unconsciously, subconsciously, sometimes consciously, to stay inside of that box because I was so afraid of what was on the other side of that and who I would be. And I didn't believe that I had power or agency of my own. So I stayed inside of something that I knew was too small for me for a really long time. And so what I learned on the other side of that was that if you stay in something that is not aligned or a right fit for you, beyond the point where you realize that it's no longer aligned or a right fit, your soul, the universe, whatever, will conspire to create a sort of like a natural
like a
disaster,
yes.
right? A catalyst to smash you out of it.
Yes.
And that's what happened. And when you wait for that, there's so many consequences because, like the consequences for my ex-husband, right? The pain that he suffered, the consequences for me and the friendships that I lost, or the extreme amount of damage that did, that I then needed to repair, right? Even to forgive myself, which was all part of my journey, and I don't regret. But I think that it's like, if you wait for the explosion, then the cleanup is going to be much bigger. And this is why now I really love to work with women to help them get to know what their desires are, get to know what they want, get to know who they are, so that they can make conscious choices, right? So that they can create more grace in the way that they release themselves from these old narratives, old programs. And that then it's just a much more nourishing experience overall. But if you are someone who has been through the explosion, okay, like that was your experience, that's what happened. And then it's just about like, what do you do to come back to self-love, to forgive yourself, to heal through that process, so that doesn't have to be the way you do it every time.
Definitely. And I want to bring a caveat to that, because everybody knows like me and caveats are like best friends right now with these interviews. But like with what you said, and you were talking about like not waiting, like being so conscious or just so aware. I'll use the word aware because the audience, and I think bringing focus and attention to your feelings or why you want to do something, or if you feel any kind of trigger, any kind of misalignment or tension or frustration, to actually approach it and be really honest, and not like that judgment, not having that judgment and that kind of like, oh, shame, or like, oh, you shouldn't do it. Just really sitting with it and being like, this is a possibility. What am I afraid of? Walking through it. But essentially that process and that concept is really part of us witnessing what may be like, the more we ignore parts of ourselves and ignore those desires or those wants, like you said, there's a catastrophist, like really big breaking point. But some of us, we're so busy, or we're so imposed on by society or by our environments, that it's harder to do that. It's hard to see it. So that's why it's so important to situate yourself with facilitators and mentors and coaches that allow that reflection for you, or set aside time. It may be harder for some because of their environments, and that's okay. We really step into it, or just by never being exposed to certain practices. So that's why we really want to connect into rooms where diversity is available, so we can awaken our different parts that we've never looked into, we've never paid attention to, we've never stepped into, and really awaken those parts. So have a collective awakening of all these aspects, and then really serve ourselves in that way. So I wanted to bring that back to that concept, say that, that it's so important that we bring that awareness to what our feelings are, and the diversity, and then the situation, and anything that kind of makes us feel something is really tapping into that feeling space. And that's desire. And it's always desire. It's always going to be a feeling, is always a desire, whether it's repressed and not seen, or it's surfaced and it's being expressed. It's all along the same line. It's just what polarity are we approaching it and seeing it in.
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that, just being curious about it, like when we get out of the judgment space and get more into the curiosity space, that's where we really find out what's underneath it. Because sometimes you don't need to blow up your whole life to make a change. Like sometimes it could just be something from within. And also something that I think is really important to bring into the space as well is there is so much, like we are so blessed to have access to the internet, to social media. There's so much free content out there. Like when I was going through this time in my life, which was now, gosh, like, I don't know, like 12 years ago, there just wasn't the resources that there are now. And so I had to go out and look for it. I had to spend a lot more money. It took me so long. I ended up, part of my journey was, I was living in London, leaving London and traveling the world and going to South America and like living with shamans and going into the wilds of the wilds, like way off the beaten path, to try to find the teachers who could share this wisdom with me, who could help me to find myself. And that is certainly not the path for everyone. And I think that a lot of times, people or women can feel like, oh, but I can't just leave my job. I can't just go, live in South America for 6 months. I can't do all those things. So therefore, what can I do? And it's like, you don't need to do all that stuff. I wish that there were coaches around like this when I was in that stage, so I could have stayed home.
Yeah. Like we did the hard way, so you don't have to. Like you don't want to do it the hard way. It's not easy. It's not a very glamorous thing as it sounds.
Really not. I wish there was someone at home that I could have leaned into. That would have been so much easier.
It would have been. It really would have been. Oh my God. Yeah, I know people think it's really glamorous, but it's like it's not at all. It's like really. And that's the thing. Like if we're not careful with the grace and stuff like that, like our transformation could be traumatic as well, because we were so not listening to the inklings and the nuggets and the little droplets and the cues. And it's okay. Sometimes we are so distracted, or we're so ingrained into our day-to-day life or our old process or the environment we're in. So sometimes it's really hard to break out. So there's no judgment on that. But like when we see now, we have so much resonance, or we have so many people in society that are giving opportunities for these spaces and this information, we can just kind of start using those resources, and it really helps. So if anybody thinks that this lifestyle is glamorous, please don't stop. It's a bit of a rocky one sometimes. Okay, so we are going to tap in. We have a next bit. So you guys who have been watching the series and you guys know the routine, we are on to the fun. Well, the whole thing is fun. I always say this, but this part is so as you guys know, I've asked all the women for about 3 to 5 questions. Sophia has given me 5. I'm only going to share 3. Ooh. And then in this time period, As you all know, I hold space. I'm not supposed to say anything. Hopefully my body language doesn't give out much. I'm very expressive in my body, so hopefully it doesn't. But we're just really just tapping into the space of what the round table, the energy, the vibe, the feeling of the round table, and Summit as well a little bit. We're just going to hold space together, and Sophia is going to share the answers to the questions. After that, we're going to go into some fun things and chat about that. Are you ready, Sophia?
I'm ready.
You're ready.
Hit me with it. Bring it to me, baby.
I love it. Okay, awesome. All right, okay. So question number 1. What is one thing you want your audience to know about your teachings that they might not know?
Okay, so what I would love you to know about my teachings that you might not know. So my teachings are all around feminine energy, feminine embodiment, and feminine leadership. And something that I want you to know, which I think is a common misconception that women have, is that feminine leadership is not only for if you're a coach, right? It's not only if you work for yourself. It's not only if you're sitting at home, and you have an online business. You can bring your feminine energy, your feminine power, your feminine embodiment into any environment. In fact, feminine leadership is so needed in these patriarchal, typically masculine environments. And when women really embody that, and it's not about how you look, it's not about, oh, if I'm feminine I have to wear a floaty dress. You can wear whatever you want. It's about the energy having sort of embodying like more of an open, receptive, and a softer energy. And soft does not mean weak. So when women do this, when they embody this, even in these masculine environments, what they find is that the men, their co-workers, their colleagues, their bosses, their clients, it's like they start to lean in more. They listen more. These women are finding that they're getting more respect, and they're creating more collaboration in the environment. And I think that both men and women are craving more of this energy to balance out what is a lot of toxic masculine energy in the environment. So yeah, that's what I want you to know.
Okay. So how would you say the industry supports diversity among women?
Well, I think that coaching is amazing for diversity, because in the coaching world, what gives you kind of like the platform or the credence to do the work that you do is your life experience. So that automatically starts to level the playing field, because in a lot of other industries, it's about where did you go to school? What did you study? All this kind of stuff. And we know like how much education costs. We know like the ridiculous, it more and more becoming inaccessible for people to go to university and do all these sorts of things and get these kind of slips of paper that tell them that they're allowed to now do something. And actually, I feel like in the coaching industry, what's really supported is the school of life. And so regardless of who you are, if you've been through something, if you've had a struggle, if you've learned something, if you've grown in some way, if you've been able to kind of elevate yourself through what you've learned, then you now have something to teach to others. And also the beautiful thing about it is that there's all different levels, right? It's not like you have to be the best of the best of the best in order to have something valuable to share with someone else. So at every level, at every stage of life, you have a gift to share. And that's how I feel like diversity is supported within the coaching industry. And I love it.
Perfect. All right. So the favorite one among everybody. Okay. What is your dream for women in the coaching and mentorship world and industry?
My dream for women inside of this industry is that we let go of comparison. We let go of this competition, this need to be the best. And instead, we start to celebrate our own unique, special gifts and celebrate the unique and special gifts of other women and start to collaborate with each other, because there's so much space. There's space for us all. Like, we don't have to compete. That's my biggest dream, because I feel like sisterhood, creating sisterhood, is what really is going to help us create like a whole different world. That, because all this competition, this comes from the patriarchy. So collaboration, this is what the spirit of the feminine is all about. And this is the beautiful golden opportunity that we have inside of coaching and mentorship to really, truly change the paradigm that we all live in. Yeah.
Ooh, juicy, juicy, juicy. Love it. Okay. All right. That question always gives like such a vibe, such a vibration. I love it. All right, guys. So like I say in every of these episodes, if you're feeling, that means we did our job, right? You're supposed to be feeling. Feel into your body, breathe in, take care of yourself, do what you need to do to feel into that more, tap into that, and feel that ignition of possibility and power and energy inside of you. This is what this summit is about. It's about you feeling into every aspect of woman through that diversity and then making it whole inside of you. So with that power and that energy and that intention and that desire, we're going to expand on that with some fun things and some playful things in addition to all the fun we had, because this is all fun. I know you guys always hear it, because whoever's listening to this, like the 6th episode, they're like, this girl always says it, but I genuinely mean it. It really is fun. It's so fun, you guys. You know it is. All right, so we are on to, so as you guys know, I have asked all the women for songs for their theme of their life. And I personally, like, I think if I was putting a song in the playlist, like this is the song I would have put on, because I have Bibled this song for like 3 years straight. Everywhere in the world, I'm like singing the song out very loud, and I don't care. So some of you, it's true. So some of you may know this song, and some of you may not. But if you do not know this song, please make sacred space. Like, I would even go as far as saying, set the intention to be in sacred space and put the song on. Like when you're in prayer or in meditation or whatever the case is, like really do that with this song. I know I haven't said that with the rest of them. You can do that with all of them, but this song, just take the sacred time to really go in with the song and really feel the song and be with it, because this is one for the books. All right, love. I'm not even going to tell them what the song is. You are going to tell them what the song is, because usually I tell, but I'm like, nope. Sophia, baby, you're going to tell them what the song is.
Sure.
Yes.
So it's Light of Love by Jaya Jagadish. And it's one of my favorite songs. Exactly how you described it is how I feel about it. It's the song that I love to play and sing to. I think it's a really powerful song to sing along to, even if you think you have like the worst voice in the world. There's something about the lyrics I feel that calls us back into ourselves, calls us back into our power, reminds us like how we already are all of the things. Like, there's no need to go outside of ourselves at all. It's all already here. And this is the song that I use to call me back into myself, because, you know, I'm human. We're all humans, and we all have those moments where we start, like, you know, things come up or whatever. We're like, what's going on in my life? And then this is the one that I play this, I sing this, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember now. Everything's okay. I'm just riding a wave, and it's all beautiful. It's all perfect. So yeah, I'm excited to share it with all of you.
Yeah, I love it. Definitely, guys, really sit down and take like intentional space with the song. Do it. You won't regret the experience. All right. So, as you guys also know, we're doing an amazing contest. We are giving Sophia is giving away an amazing gift for the woman that shares most of her, like all the work that's associated with the summit as much as possible. So whoever gets the most tags and is able to tag Sophia in the most of the posts and all the sharings of all her juicy things for the summit, all the juicy things happening, they get to win one thing. And Sophia is going to let you guys know about it. But before we do it, the hashtag that you're using to share her content. So this is like her post, her social media, this interview, this podcast. We're going to have a podcast version of this, her graphics for the summit. And then inside the actual events, we're going to have some really cool things that you can share out outside of the summit into the social medias, all of that. You're going to be tagging hashtag FemBiz, Feminine Biz, and then also her social media handle. Oh my God, Sophia. It is, so what is it? I'm saying it wrong. Is it Rebel Queen or is it?
No, it's Sophia_Lee_page. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So it's Sophia_Lee_page. Sorry, I'm so bad at this. I knew it was Sophia, but I wasn't sure if you had I didn't know if you had a business one on top of it, because sometimes, we have personal ones and we engage in that.
Yeah.
Okay, so make sure you tag Sophia_Lee_page. You do hashtag feminine biz. And then you also have to tag so we can keep track of it, and it qualifies it into diversity.roundtable onto it as well. And the person that is able to share out the most, and we are counting it, we are taking care of this, guys, we are serious about it. We have an amazing gift. So, it's a bundle. I love these bundles. Bundles are amazing. Okay, so I'm gonna let Sophia talk about it in more detail. I know what my take on it is, but obviously it's your offer, so you're gonna have to go into it. I can be like, oh, but I think it's gonna be quite transformational. Just by I can tell. So it's the Rebel Queen Kundalini Dark Goddess bundle. Ooh, fire. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to tell? Would you like to tell the audience? Yeah.
Sure. So Rebel Queen Dark Goddess bundle. So Rebel Queen Kundalini is the is a version of Kundalini yoga that I created. It's actually an erotic movement class. So it combines all of my favorite things. It's actually the foundation of my own embodiment practice. So it includes, we do erotic dance. There's these beautiful, juicy moves to like open up the spine and the heart and the hips and the womb and the sacral chakra and all that kind of stuff, get you feeling really activated, really juicy. There's breath work to circulate your essential energy. So at the end of every class, you feel more centered in yourself. You feel more open, more sensual, more radiant, more magnetic. And the Dark Goddess bundle, there's a bunch of different bundles that I have, but the Dark Goddess bundle is working with the archetype of the Dark Goddess. And why she's really important for us as women is because inside of that, we get to reclaim a part of the feminine that's been really pushed away. So the dark feminine is the part of us that has those really strong boundaries, that stands for her truth, that really owns also like her sexuality and her sensuality, that owns her emotions, right? So it's the feminine isn't only soft, the feminine is also the fiery truth. So this is what we get to explore, some of that darker edge, to reclaim that so that we can feel more whole in our expression of our feminine. So it's super juicy, super sexy. And I'm excited for whoever gets to experience this. It's actually my most popular bundle on my core store. So it's got the most sales out of all of them. So obviously women are really loving this bundle.
I love it. I don't want to because I feel like if I only touch upon my feelings and dimensions about this, we're gonna be on here for another 10 minutes or another 20 minutes. I feel like if I do that, that's what's gonna happen. But I just want to I'll just leave it as that. I'm gonna leave it a mystery for everybody to really engulf and go into. But whoever's watching this can see the vibe and expression within me. And one thing to know about me is I'm a talker, but if I'm silent and you're seeing a lot of positive reactions, that means truly I am blown, truly, it's speechless. And that's a big thing when I feel speechless. So take that, guys, as a really positive, I'm dead serious. It's a really positive thing. What I will say to it though is that this bundle is probably going to be one of the most profound experiences you have if you have not even touched into it. And even if you have touched into it, because you're combining some elements here that is very, very powerful. And that archetype itself I feel like every woman, even if you don't win this package, I would encourage you to go tap into it in Sophia's cart, because that's archetype, especially with this topic we're talking about and this concept, it goes hand in hand. So I would highly encourage you guys, and that I'm saying with like not even a blink of an eye, that you should probably go into a cart and get this. So, all right, guys. So you're welcome. But I'm serious. So I will leave it to that. Before we head off and we go, please, if I missed any of the locations where they can find you, how can they find you, tap into you, all that stuff, anything else that they need to know about your juicy world?
Yeah, so the best place you can go to is my website. There's absolutely everything on there. There's links to all of my social media, my free Facebook group, my YouTube channel, the podcast that I've appeared on. There, like all the courses that I have that you can dip your toe in and dive right into. So that is sophialepage.com.
Perfect.
And from there, there's so much to explore. And if you do follow me on Instagram, then please send me a message and let me know that you followed me and that you listened to this and what you loved about it, or what your takeaways were, or what you're excited about for the roundtable. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you.
Amazing. So before we do officially close off, what is one thing that's very exciting that you're excited about for the summit, the roundtable?
I think I'm excited to hear all the other women's perspectives. And I think that this is a really important conversation. And like we were talking about before we started recording, diversity can mean so many different things. So I'm excited to see and hear and learn from all these other women about how diversity has shown up in their lives. And yeah, just to be there and participate, it feels like such an honor. So thank you for inviting me.
Amazing, amazing. All right, guys, for those of you who are listening on the podcast, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you come and check us out on Facebook and Instagram, and you see us on YouTube so you can see these lovely faces to the voice. For those of you who are watching us on the platforms of Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, make sure you jump onto that podcast. It's a whole different transmission and vibe when you see the face and you hear it, and then you just listen to the voice. Two totally different transmissions and experiences. So indulge and feel both of them, because I'm telling you, juicy information will unfold newly and really come to you and land in different ways. So allow that to happen. We are so excited to see you guys in the roundtable and in the summit. It's the end of February. You can find all the information in the link bio at the top or bottom, wherever you are. It is around here somewhere. And for those of you who don't know where to find me, Ella Sophia Nazareth, you can find me on Facebook under that same handle. Then you can find me on Instagram at SWA Solutions, as well as my private Facebook group, as well as my business page, which is High Performance Spirituality, the Wisdom Circle. So, guys, I will see you guys in the summit. Thank you, Sophia, for being here. It was such a pleasure. And I will chat with all of you guys soon. Bye.
Mm-hmm.